Hello and welcome to Between Two Bookends. My name is Madison. I'm from the Indigo project and we're waiting for Stephan Turnipseed, the President Emeritus of LEGO Education. He's going to be talking with us today about the evolving landscape of education inside the classroom as well as outside. In the meantime, I will be drawing silly things on my face to keep all of you viewers intrigued. Hey, I'm a turkey. LEGO is a name that we've all heard before. Why is play important?
Fantastic. Play is one of the things that we know about play is that all human beings, children, beginning with children and even adults like yourself and me, learn best when we're able to play, when we work in a playful environment. It's how we naturally think about things. When you think about children, when you think about role-playing, when you think about what they naturally do, it's a part of the kind of the hands-on process of learning. And what we've noticed over time is through research and looking at children's behavior, what we really see is the importance of play in not only how they learn, like content areas, things like how to build things and project-based learning, but they also learn their socialization skills. They learn the ability to collaborate and to work through technology problems, just like we've been doing right here together, working together to try and sort this out. It's in sort of a playful way. You've been demonstrating very, very well. So for LEGO Education, play is important not only for diversion, which is how we kind of decompress, but very importantly, play is important for learning, it's important for socialization, and it's important for proper human, or I shouldn't say proper as well as I should say normal or optimal human emotional development. And when you take all those things together, then what we find is in a normal learning environment, the more playful it is, the more engaging it is, the more the child has the ability to demonstrate student agency, learner agency, they're taking control, and the more they feel they can control their environment, the more they make the learning their own. It's one of the reasons why project-based learning is so successful, and of course with LEGO, a hands-on component, we feel that's a very important piece of it.
I have such a history myself with LEGO and watching my cousin tear apart different LEGOs to make the pieces that he needed.
What you're seeing right there is exactly the benefit of play. He built this model based on what we gave him, and then we call this the contemplate phase in our learning paradigm. He began to think about it and then add to it and make that model unique and make that model his own through his own creativity, through perhaps his interest, solving problems as he went. So we see that as a natural extension, and it's that play that carried him through that process.
How does learning through making, doing, and creating versus improve student understanding in the areas of STEM? So science, technology, engineering, and math.
What we know is that in these content areas, that when you're dealing with the natural world, of which STEM is in fact, you know, the natural world, we can think about those four ideas as mathematics is a language that allows scientists to explore the natural world and then describe it, and through that description you can go through an engineering process to create technology. All of that is a very hands-on type of a process. So when we're making and doing and creating, what we're really doing is we're going through a learning process that is very much akin to the way we as humans were designed to learn. If you think about some of the work that's been done by a gentleman named Peter Gray he has some theories that, while I don't necessarily know that I understand all of them, he does make an interesting point that is when we were first around, we were hunter-gatherers, and we very often learned in a very important way through interacting with each other and through making and doing and creating, and things that we remember. I suspect things that you made as a child working perhaps in a class or with your family. There are things about that that you still do today that you still remember. And so what we know is that when you do it with your hands, it tends to imprint in your brain. We call it connecting to your knowledge landscape. And then once it's connected, it's really hard to unplug it. And it's this process of moving it from short-term memory to long-term memory that this whole making, doing, creating does for us. Whereas studying and memorization doesn't always get it to the long-term memory.
Hmm. So LEGO mentions the importance of inspirational teaching. What do you recommend for teachers who are stuck in a school-implemented lesson plan and, you know, something that's not really engaging their students? How do they break free from that?
I think we have to talk about that in two ways. First is the requirements of the school administration. In our current system today, teachers are accountable to the administrator and to the district and to this hierarchy, if you will. We can't change that, and we certainly don't want teachers to create a revolution by burning all of their lesson plans and their syllabus and things like that. But what we do know is that within these syllabi, there are large sweeps of flexibility in how you teach a particular piece of content. So what we recommend for inspiring students is to look within that content and look for those opportunities where you can introduce project-based learning, is what some people would call it, hands-on activities, what others might call it. One of the things I talk about is just get out of the classroom. Just gather everybody up and do a practical application. Quick example. We all will have to learn about geometry, for example. We all learn it sitting in a classroom and watching it on a board on some level. However, we can learn geometry and trigonometry very easily if the teacher takes the class and says, okay, we're going to go outside and redesign the parking lot because the teachers keep bumping into each other. And by going out and redesigning the parking lot, they're going to have to study geometry, trigonometry, and the math. They're going to have a lot of fun because they're going to talk about how the teachers bumped into each other. It still gets the content covered, and that's something that doesn't cost anything. It's not additional equipment. It's just a matter of opening the door a little bit and letting kids, trusting kids that they can actually do the work. I should say children and youth and not kids. I apologize.
That's excellent. I totally see that happening. You know, you pose a child with this problem, and if they are aware that their creativity is really opened and they're much more willing to feel like.
Absolutely.
Next question is, how do you see the skills that children learn through LEGO projects as a child transferring into their adulthood?
One of the ways, and by the way, transference is a wonderful thing for us to think about. One of the things that we see, and I want to talk a little bit about the 21st century skills. As an aside, we know from work done by the National Academies, and I'm chairman of the Partnership for 21st Century Skills, we know that the skills of creativity, critical thinking and problem solving, collaboration and communication are the skills that will most accurately define success for young people in the future. There's a lot of research that proves that today. And what we see is in these interactions with using these activities, these LEGO activities, what we see is children communicating, we see them collaborating, we see them critically thinking and problem solving, and most importantly, we see them being very creative. And once you learn those skills at a young age, and then you foster a process of thinking about it, so that we think about what we're doing and we talk about those skills, then those skills continue on through to adulthood. One of the surveys that I cite quite often is one done by IBM, where 1,500 CEOs said the characteristic that is most missing in their workforce and that they can't find in the people they're trying to hire is creativity. And that begins in childhood. And it's not so much a matter of learning it as it is a matter of unlearning it. And what we believe is that with using the LEGO curriculum and products, we're able to move that forward. And there are many other solutions that work as well. I just happen to know more about it than I do anything else.
Mm-hmm. So I read something really interesting, that learning is the basic instinct possessed by all individuals, whereas education is something acquired. What do you have to say about that? Do you agree or disagree?
Well, let me say it like this. The way we phrase that is the difference between instructionism and constructionism. In instructionism, which is education, I tell you what's important, and then you prove to me it was important by writing it down on a test that I give you. Constructionism, which is what we at LEGO believe is about learning, I give you a problem or a challenge and say, how would you solve this? And you construct that learning, and then you tell me how you solve the problem, and then I can evaluate that solution within the context of what the concepts we were trying to learn or the concepts and constructions that others have used. That's constructionism. So that's, by the way, learning as opposed to education. Said another way, learning goes on inside the mind, education goes on inside the room.
Well, I am very confident that LEGO is going to help us evolve in the 21st century and really, break down the barriers that we've created by this static classroom environment. My hope is that, we find new ways and embrace collaborative projects, to really share skills, share projects, share knowledge, and there's no proprietary feeling that comes with it, that one person is supposed to know this and only this, and this knows that. I hope that everything can really unite in our future, and I'm spearheading this movement.
Well, that's fantastic. We need people like you doing this, because quite frankly, what you're talking about is really the future of our country and our world. We need young people, both children that are being born today and educated, and young people like yourselves, understanding that we do have to have some deep content. But when we carry the Library of Congress on our hips through these smartphones, memorization is no longer going to be the way to win. The way to win is going to have these transferable skills, being very creative, as you were earlier on, and I give you A++++ for your creativity there, if we want to talk about that. Being very creative and problem solving and things like that. We need that, so please keep going down the road and looking for great companies, and there are many out there who support what you're talking about, this notion of learning through doing and making and being creative and play, most importantly.
Definitely will. Thank you so much for joining us today, all of your input. For more about LEGO Education, visit their website at LEGO. Don't forget at Indigo. All we have for you today. Thanks very much for joining in, and happy Thursday.
Thanks very much.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.